features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to another live safari adventure right here and right now in the middle of the African bush. This is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
And as I said, a very good afternoon to all of you and a very special welcome to North Landing as well as Glenwood as well as Thorogood Elementary Schools, all watching from Virginia Beach. It is lovely to have you on board. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon the man sitting behind the camera who's very, very shy, his name is Gendre. Before we go into exactly what it is we're looking for, let me just explain a little bit about what it is we do. So we take live safaris, which means that what you're seeing right now on your screen is happening right here, all the way on the southern tip of South Africa. So what that means is that you can almost imagine that you're sitting on the back of the vehicle with me, helping me look for things like lions and elephants and leopards and buffalo and all sorts of exciting things in between. It also means that you can ask any questions that you would like to ask. So just imagine it kind of like you're on safari. Imagine you can feel the wind blowing on your faces, the dark clouds, and the nice cool air. Now, I'm looking for a lion that I promised you was there about 10 seconds ago. But while I go and see if I can find her again, Brent is also out, and he has a very special surprise for you.
Welcome to Thorogood, North Landing and Glenwood Elementary to your school drive. There is a leopard there. Can you spot him with all his camouflage? There you go. He's got a Nyala kill. It's a young male leopard that he's just scrambled up the tree with a baby Nyala. A Nyala is a type of antelope that his mom caught for him. I'm trying to see where his mom is now, but while we try reposition to get a better view, let me say hello. Hi, my name is Brent and I've got Eggsy or Egbert or lots of different egg names for Eggs, the cameraman, but welcome on your very own live safari. Please send me lots of questions. I'm going to try and get you a view. There's 2 more leopards down here, so let's see if we can spot them. So they're in quite a little ravine of a dry riverbed, so we're trying to see if we can spot the others. I did see them a little while ago. I saw a tail flashing. There, over, you can just make out. Can you see her there, Eggs? Just come out a little bit. There we go. That's a little female cub, just under 10 months old. Her name is Shongile, and their mother's name is Karula. And I'm not sure where she is. She could probably see. There she comes. She's about to walk into where that one is there. Stay there, stay there. She's about to pop out here. She was walking towards the other cub. The cub's looking at her mom. Her mom might pass. She's past where we can't see her. Okay, let's get forward. And see what's happening. Now, oh, there's the little male. Has he got his prize with him? There we go. Now, the female, the mom, is just below me. There you go. He is eating that baby antelope that his mom caught. Hello to Sophia from Thorogood. Sophia would like to know, how do leopards run so fast, and how long can they run fast for? Well, Sophia, their top speed is, I'm trying to work it into miles per hour. Well, it's 24 meters per second, and they don't do it for very long. They can only keep that up for about 20 or 30 meters, but that's why they're ambush predators. So they sneak close to the animals they'll eat, and then they burst out of the bush and grab them. Okay, and he's the little boy. I can't see where Mom is. We might have to reposition to where he's moved that carcass to the other side of the riverbed, which could take a little while. Now I'm trying to just have a look if we can see Mom, and hopefully we'll get to see Mom and the babies together. And now, Sophia, to answer the other part of your question is, how do they run so fast? It's because they've got such highly developed muscles, and living out here and hunting to survive, those muscles are trained. So you can imagine like a 100-meter sprinter, he has to exercise all the time to keep those muscles trained. The leopards do the same, except they do it because they have to do it to survive. Okay, let's... Now, Gabriel's worried that I'm going to get attacked. Don't worry, Gabriel. I'm completely fine. They're not going to attack me unless I'm naughty. So if you drive carefully and respectfully around these animals, they're not going to attack us. Now, I'm going to try and get down so we can get closer to them. Okay, now I'm just trying to plan my route, because you can see we're not on a road, we're driving through the bush, and that's the best way to follow a lot of the wild animals here. Now, of course, guys, I'm not the only person out here. You've met Jamie, and she's looking for lions, but we've also got the very brave Byron, who's walking through the African bush.
Good afternoon, everyone, and hello to all the little kids from the schools. Lovely to have you with us. My name is Byron, and with me on camera is VM, and then we've got Herbert, who's also walking with us this afternoon. We are looking for any interesting little insects and birds, some of the things that you don't really see when you're on a car. So that's what we're going to be looking for this afternoon. And let's see, there might be something interesting over here. Stick with us. So what we do is we try and turn over logs and little branches and see if the animals, termites, anything, spiders, scorpions. Let's see, I think Herbert spotted something here. Hang on. Some impala. Look here, everybody. There they are. Through that gap you might be able to see them. So we do also see animals while we're walking around, and we do have to be very, very careful. You can hear it's very, very windy at the moment, so we have to be careful because there could be elephant or buffalo or even lions or leopard. This morning we found the lions while we were walking, which was very, very exciting. But we do have to keep a lookout and make sure that we don't see or bump into any animals. It's better if we can see them before they see us, but sometimes it happens that we do bump into them. Let's come have a look over here. Nice big log that we've got turned over, and there might be something interesting around here. What have we got here? Where do you see that? And that's it. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Yeah, a centipede, everybody. Wonderful. That is great. I'm just trying to turn this again. Oh, there he is. There he is. There he is. Look at that, a beautiful centipede. Now, these are venomous, and they can give you a nasty bite, or kind of a venomous sting. So another word that people sometimes use is poison. They do have poison or venom, which means that they can bite you, and it can be quite painful. But look at those beautiful colors. Isn't that amazing? See, and these little creatures you only really see if you are walking and you're spending time in the bush looking for them. And And that is really, really interesting. Beautiful little centipede. Oh, that is great. That's not something you see every day. And look how fast that it moves. It can move very, very quickly. And that's possibly, let's see where it's going. Alright, I'm going to put the centipede's home back. I'm going to tip this log back over and hopefully it'll go back down. But wasn't that interesting? While I do that, let's head back to Jamie, who's with some lions.
Look what we have found, and isn't this exciting? We managed to catch up with the lion that I saw earlier. I'm so glad that we have a chance to see these amazing cats. What a nice surprise that was this afternoon. Well, not so much a surprise for me. I told you I'd seen one. I just had to try and find them again. And in fact, we've got 5 big lionesses, so 5 female lions. And look really closely, because here's one of the best parts of this particular sighting, or this particular moment. Look at that. Isn't it adorable? With its enormous ears, a little lion cub looking at us with great curiosity from very bright eyes. Our lions are absolutely amazing creatures. You saw that leopard with Brent. Now, a lion is much bigger than something like a leopard. So a lion probably weighs around, these lionesses probably weigh around, I would say, about 130 to 150 odd kilograms. So that's over 300 pounds. That's a really, very big animal. Much bigger than your dogs at home. Even if you have the biggest of dogs, these are still bigger. Now, Kai, you want to know, how do the animals get their food here? Well, Kai, they are wild animals, so the herbivores will get plants and eat grasses and any food that they find. Oh, look at these little cubs. But these are wild lions, which means that they, as carnivores, have to hunt other animals, and that they do. So these lions, and they're known as the Nkuhuma lions, it's a special type of pride that we see often here, and they're little cubs. Oh, look, little one wants to go and have a drink and a cuddle with mom. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, these lions hunt and catch and kill their own food. And it's usually, with this particular pride, it's usually buffalo that they catch and kill. But they can eat anything from zebra to wildebeest to hippo sometimes, but it's mainly buffalo. And Karula, for example, that leopard that you saw with Brent, she also has to catch and kill her own food. Aww. But it's important that these lionesses do that, because they can't go to the shops out here. They can't get specially made food. They have to catch their own. And that's good, because they've got 6 little cubs that they need to feed. And these little cubs are growing very, very quickly, which means they want to eat pretty much all the time. And the lionesses have to work really hard to make sure that they get fed. They can't just pop down to the grocery store. They can't just go to the shops. Now, Logan, you wanted to know, how do lions roar so loudly, and can the babies do it too? I'm going to answer the question about the babies in a moment, but the lions can roar so loudly because they've got specially adapted voice boxes here, and they've got a special muscle that runs from their voice box where you speak from. They've got a special muscle that runs all the way down into their chest and to their diaphragm. So your diaphragm sits here underneath your lungs, and your diaphragm helps you breathe. And what happens when a lion roars, is that muscle contracts and it pulls the voice box down, and it makes their voice very deep. And that's one of the big ways that they make that very, very loud roar. And it vibrates all the way through their very big, deep chests. Can the babies roar? Yes, but it's really, really funny to watch. So they try to roar, but they definitely can't roar as loud as mom and dad. So what will happen is you'll get mom and dad going roar, and then the cubs start going ow, 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 ow. So they join in because that's what their instinct tells them to do. It tells them that when their moms are roaring, they must join in and help add their voices to the sound. But they're just little lions, and as little lions, they only really have little voices. So they can't really roar as well as the adults do. Now, there's no males here at the moment, but the females can roar almost as loudly as the males. And Mary Page, you want to know what it is like being so close to the lions. Well, Mary Page, I always remember that these are wild animals, so even though I spend hours and hours sometimes with them, I always remember that I don't know necessarily what mood they're in, and I'm always watching their body language. But for me, how does it feel? I think it feels amazing, and I feel very, very privileged to be able to spend as much time as we do in the company of these wild animals. And the fact that they trust us and that they don't see us as food, I think is a very special thing indeed. The fact that they're not scared of us in any way. How wonderful is that? Something for us to be really very grateful for. And you can see, look, they're not even looking at us. They're not even slightly worried about the fact that we're near them. There's the little cubs all gathered round Mum, and even though they're eating meat now, because she's still producing a little bit of milk, they are still suckling as well, so they're still drinking from her milk. Now, Sophia, you wanted to know where they are drinking their milk from, and I'm just trying to see if I can show you, Sophia, but I can't. I can't show you because all of the lions are hiding their bellies. So, Sophia, the mommy lions have nipples that run along their bellies, and that produces, inside the nipples and just behind the nipples, is a very special type of tissue that all female mammals have. So everything from human beings to dogs to cats, and maybe one day you'll be lucky enough to see a female dog or cat with babies, and you'll be able to understand. And that special tissue makes the milk that the cubs are drinking from. Now, Jake, while we watch these little cubs suckle, every now and again we're going to hear them start to growl at each other. And that's because even at a young age, they know that they're in competition with each other. And even though they love each other, they're brothers and sisters and cousins, and they're very, very tight together, when it comes time for food, they do sometimes fight. And yes, lions can fight each other really, very badly. Not within a pride like this, but sometimes we get what's known as a coalition of males, and a coalition of males will be dominant in an area. So they will be dominant over this pride, they'll be dominant over another pride, and they have to fight to get there, because in nature, what they want to do is they want to breed with the females and produce their own line of cubs, and they're also in competition with other lions for food. So yes, lions can fight, and very rarely they can kill each other, but that's quite unusual. And Xavier, you say, are the lions already sleeping? Xavier, I have a secret to tell you. They've probably pretty much been sleeping almost all day. So they've finished off a huge meal. They ate a big, big buffalo. And now, I don't know if any of you have had a really big meal. Maybe you had a big Sunday roast, or perhaps a Christmas dinner or an Easter dinner, or whatever family dinner you might have had, and you're sitting with really full bellies, and you kind of don't want to do anything. You just want to sleep. That's what these lions are doing. So yes, they are already asleep, and lions can actually sleep for almost 20 hours a day if they can. But when they are active, when they do need to go out and hunt, then they are very, very powerful, and they walk huge distances, so we can't really call them lazy. So there you go, Mattia, you wanted to know how long do they hunt for. Well, Mattia, they'll go out and hunt for as long as they can. If they are hungry and they want to eat something. Now, lions can get very, very hot, which is why they sleep most of the time during the day, because they're actually nocturnal. But as soon as it gets dark, if they're hungry, they can hunt all the way through the night and into the early morning, and it's only when it starts to get really, really hot that they tend to slow down and stop and go and find some shade and just sleep. And you can't really blame them, because out here it can get up to over 40 degrees centigrade, so well over 110 Fahrenheit. Now, Daniel, you wanted to know whether or not the lions will hunt together or by themselves. Daniel, this is the amazing thing about lions. They are the only truly social big cat, and that is why they have been so successful and why they are the apex predator here, because yes, they do hunt together, and nobody knows exactly how it is, but somehow when lionesses hunt together or lions hunt together, they seem to know exactly what they need to do. So one female, for example, will creep forward and go in a straight line towards the animal that they're hunting, and the others will spread out around it so that when it runs, one of the lionesses is in a good position to jump on and grab it. And that's the only reason why the lionesses are capable, or lions are capable of hunting something like a buffalo, because a buffalo is well over 1,000 pounds. Whereas a lioness, remember how we said, is only just over 300 pounds. So you can just imagine, if you think about it, you can just imagine how much smaller the lionesses are. And a buffalo is really very strong. It's like a South African bison. Oh, here we go. We might have an opportunity to watch or have a look at where the cub was suckling from. There it goes. Flop, goes to sleep. Let's see if we can... Oh, little cub. It's like it doesn't want to see. But if you look carefully there, you'll be able to see where the cubs were drinking milk from. Just in that dark patch on the mom's belly. Quinn, very good question. Quinn, you've asked me a question that I don't know the answer to. You wanted to know how many baby cubs there are in South Africa. Well, Quinn, South Africa is an absolutely huge place. It is the 25th biggest country in the world, I think, if I remember correctly. So it's a very, very big place, and there are lots and lots of lions there. So, Quinn, I don't really know, but if I had to guess at how many baby cubs there are, I would guess at maybe 2,000 baby cubs in South Africa, maybe even more, probably even more. That was just a low guess. So there's lots of little baby lion cubs. But aren't we lucky? And personally, I think that ours are quite special, but that's because I spend lots of time with them. Now, this is one of the most wonderful ways to be on the vehicle looking at the different animals. But if you really want to see some interesting things, you've got to be out on foot. Let's go and say hello to Byron.
We do have some interesting things, everybody, and look at that bone that VM is showing you there. And I wonder if any of you can guess why that bone is around here. So we are sitting on an old termite mound, and you can see how big this mound is, so we can tell that it's very, very old. But by the looks of things, it doesn't look like there are any termites in here at the moment. This ground and the soil is very, very hard, and I don't think there are any termites here at all. The other way I can tell is there's a lot of trees or these little bushes growing out of the termite mound. It's a raisin bush, so the chances are there being termites in here are very, very slim. But what I wanted to show you, and why there is a bone outside this termite mound, is you see this big hole that I'm sitting in front of now. Now we've had a look inside and there's nothing in there, but this would have been the home of... And look, we've got a little torch there, look at that. See, nothing inside, and it doesn't look like anything's moved through there. But this would have been the home of a hyena. So this is a hyena den, everyone, which is very, very interesting. And what happens is often you get other animals that will use these old termite mounds for homes. What would happen is animals like an aardvark, which is a little animal that will move around at night and it digs up and eats termites and ants, and they're incredibly good diggers, and they will come through, dig a hole, try and get to termites, and if not, they'll eventually move away. But then what happens is, because they've started a hole, animals like hyena... Oh, there's another little centipede, look at that, another little one. Isn't that amazing? Look how small that one is. That's fantastic. Sierra, you wanted to know, what do centipedes do? And centipedes move around. They do feed on certain other insects, I believe, and they just live in the ground. So Look at that little one go. That's amazing. It's incredible. It's just another part of the insect family. Not insect family, well, a centipede. You also get millipedes. Oh, look how it goes into the hole. Jake, I have not been bitten by one before, thankfully, but apparently it does sting and it is very, very painful. Interesting little insects, those centipedes. So just getting back to the hyena den. So what happens is then hyenas will come in and they'll dig the hole a little bit bigger, and the female will use this as a den to keep her cubs. She'll hide them inside, and then sometimes what they do is they might bring a bit of food to the den. They don't often do it, but occasionally they do, and we can see there's some more signs of bone around here. There's another bone. Very, very sharp white bone. So the hyena have very, very powerful jaws, and they'll crush and feed on bones and that from carcasses that they've scavenged or stolen from other predators, maybe bring some back for the cubs to feed on, and then with those powerful jaws they crush the bones, and then you get these little splinters of bone which are lying around outside the den. So you can see that this is a den site. The other animals that would use this are possibly wild dogs, and we do have wild dogs out here. I haven't seen them for a while. They're very scarce, and they do run very, very far and cover large distances, but they'll also use these abandoned termite mounds as homes. But it's interesting, nothing has used this. Michaela, you wanted to know what the hole leads into. So Michaela, it will just lead in a little bit and just give them shelter. It won't lead into anything. There's probably an area in the middle that's been dug out that hollows out a little bit, so it makes it nice and comfy for them to stay in there, and they'll just move through and sleep in there during the evenings and hide in there, and then the adults will go off and look for food and come back, and they will call the cubs out to then feed. Isn't that wonderful? We'll also get snakes and that using these eventually. Riley, you want to know if we're going to be seeing termites? I am looking. It would be wonderful to see some more termites. It's very, very windy, so I wonder if the termites aren't possibly hiding in the burrows at the moment, or in the termite mounds. Natia, you wanted to know what termites eat. So all this that we can see around here, let me show you on this side. All this dead plant material we can find or see around here. So all these dead sticks, the termites will eventually start feeding on this. So everything around here is potentially food for them. Even live trees, termites will sometimes go into the trees and they feed on the wood. So that's generally what the termites feed on around in this area. Look at all these interesting little skulls here, everybody. Bits of bone, of carcasses that hyenas have dragged here. There's a lot of signs of a lot of carcasses that have been dragged here. Small bits and pieces that the adults have brought back for the cubs to feed on. And that, like I said, they don't often do it, but they do it at times, and you'll see these remains of these bones lying around here, which is very, very interesting. See, and here's another sign of termites and what they've been feeding on. And look here, everybody, you can see how the wood has been broken down, and you see all the sand. So the termites would have been feeding on this, on the wood, breaking it down and making it very, very soft and hollow, and leaving some sand behind. So that's all been done by termites. And there you can actually see where the termites, they've created these little holes in the sand while they've been feeding on the bark. Isn't that interesting? Wonderful to see. Termites are amazing, amazing little creatures. It's great to see just really what they are doing in nature. They're breaking down all this dead plant material, trying to replenish the soil. So what happens is the termites eat the dead plants on dead trees. They will then build these massive termite mounds, and the soil is very fertile. So what that means is it's very good for other trees to now grow out of that soil. So by the termites eating this dead tree, they build these big termite mounds, and then you can see other trees start growing out of them, which is wonderful. Sometimes you get these really big trees growing out of termite mounds. Sure, Nicholas, you've asked me a question about centipedes, and you want to know, what do the centipedes actually eat? Now, I don't want to lie to you, Nicholas. I'm trying to think. As far as I know, they feed on other insects, but I don't really know. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe some of our other viewers or someone back home can look it up and tell us, but I think they just feed on other insects. I don't know if there's other things that they do. And you want to know how big some centipedes can grow too. Now, I've seen there are giant centipedes that I think they get to about this length, if I'm not mistaken, Nicholas, about this long, if not longer. I've never seen one of those giant centipedes, but they get very, very big. But as you could see, they also get very small, like that little one over there. So we've had that little one and that other one, but they're very, very colorful. Beautiful, beautiful little creatures. Very fast. And interesting thing, we also have millipedes out here. Now, hopefully I'll find one for you and I can show you what a millipede looks like. But the difference between a millipede and a centipede is generally the centipedes are flat and they've got one pair of legs per segment on their body. So they've got a pair of legs, a segment of body, a pair of legs, another segment and a pair of legs, as we saw with that other one earlier. The millipede, however, is a lot rounder and they're generally quite black, and we see them a lot on the roads, and like I said, we'll try to look out for them for you. But they've got more than one pair of legs per segment, so actually sometimes two pairs of legs per little segment of their body. So that's the main difference between a millipede and a centipede. But hopefully I can find some millipedes for you. Xavier, you wanted to know if the termites eat other bugs or if it's only plant material, wood. It's only plant material that they feed on. So they'll feed on grasses, trees, dead wood. That's basically what they feed on. They won't feed on other bugs. And but it is interesting how efficient they are at cleaning up areas and getting rid of dead and decaying plant material. So they are very, very important for the ecosystem and the environment. We're going to carry on our walk and see what else we can find. While we do that, Brent has still got some leopards that he'd like to show you.
Well, we've got a visual of two mom we can't see from where we are currently, but there we go, the lovely little female whose name is Shongile, the exquisitely beautiful one. Isn't she just gorgeous? And her greedy guts brother, Hosanna, who's hogging the dinner for the cats. Here we go. Munching away, likes his meat rare. Now, Clark's asked a very interesting question, is where do the baby leopards stay most of the time? Well, Clark, when mom is away trying to catch dinner, the baby leopards will stay in an area very like this, where there's lots of places for them to hide from lions and hyenas, and lots of good trees to climb and play. So they stay all over the bush, wherever mom happens to leave them. Oh, she's gone to sleep. Tired kitty. Emma, we're part of an 8.5 million acre completely open wildlife system, and Emma's wondering how many leopards are in that area in total. Well, Emma, there's estimated between 2,500 and 3,000 leopards in the greater Limpopo Transfrontier Park. In our area, there's probably about 10 we see regularly. Oof, wind's getting strong. You can see the leaves are swaying. I wonder if there's a big storm on the way. It sounds like it. I heard a bit of lightning earlier. Heard a bit of lightning, I lie. I heard a bit of thunder. Can't listen to lightning, you can see it. Xavier is wondering, what is the leopard eating? Xavier, it's eating an antelope, which is called an Inyala, but it's a baby one, so it's not a very big one. Now, leopards normally eat a small to medium-sized antelope. So an adult Inyala, to give you an idea, is probably about the same size as a white-tailed deer. Now, Jenna would like to know, how many spots does a leopard have? Well, Jenna, it completely depends on the individual leopards. And I don't know, Jenna, can you count really quickly? If you can count really quickly, you can tell me, because I'm not sure. No, it all depends, but I think the right answer to that is lots and lots of spots. One, two, three, four, five, six, six. Oh, too many. Now, Jake's wondering how we know what the animals' names are. Well, Jake, it's because we named them. Well, these little guys we named. What happens, how we name the animals, is all of us get together and we have a vote. And the best names are the ones that are chosen. So this one is Shongile, exquisitely beautiful. The greedy guts at the back, his name is Hosana, which means the little prince or the little chief. And their mother's name is Karula, which means the peaceful one. Now, Frankie's wondering if the leopards only hunt at night. No, Frankie, a leopard, like all predators, they are opportunists, which means if something happened to come along, they will definitely hunt, but normally they do hunt at night. Now, Mimi has got a very good question. Can the leopard see far away? Leopards have very good eyesight, Mimi, but their eyes don't work like ours. They only see in black and white, or shades of grey, and they don't see detail. So their eyes are made to pick up movement. So yes, they can see far away, and they've got very good eyesight. Lena, you've been watching very carefully and you see those leopards flicking their ears. There we go. It's to keep the biting flies away. So there's a type of fly called a stable fly that bites the leopard's ears, so they keep flicking it to make sure that their ears don't get sore. Now, Christian's wondering, do leopards eat plants? No, they don't, Christian. They only eat meat. They maybe will sometimes eat a little bit of grass if they've got an upset stomach, but they are meat eaters. And the proper word for a meat eater, for all of you there, is a carnivore. So a leopard is a carnivore. He eats meat, or she eats meat. An animal that only eats plants is called a herbivore. And an animal that eats both meat and plants is called an omnivore. Can you guys think of anything that's an omnivore? I think if you turn to your left and turn to your right, you might see a classroom full of omnivores. Now, Sullivan is wondering, how big are leopards' teeth? Now, Sullivan, again, it all depends on how big the leopard is. Now, a big male leopard can have canines, which are the big biting teeth, are about 2 inches long. Isn't that massive? Not as big as a lion's, or not as big as a baboon's. Ooh, Ooh, Selena, you must be very clever. Very good question from Selena. And Selena says, do the male and female go out to get the food, or do they steal other animals' food? Well, Selena, in the case with a female and cubs, the mom will go get the food. If she has a chance to steal food from another smaller cat, she will. Now, these guys are still too small, but Greedy Guts, the young male, Hosanna, because he's a bit bigger, he generally tends to dominate a little bit around the carcasses of the animals his mom kills. Ooh, very good question, Layla. Now, Layla would like to know if some leopards don't have spots. Now, Layla, all leopards have spots. Even, oh, quickly he's moving. It's quite so, Layla. So they all have spots. The one type of leopard that looks like it doesn't have spots is a black leopard or menelistic leopard. But even if you look very closely, it still have spots. So all the leopards have spots. Oh, it looks like he's taking the Inyala to the other side of the riverbed where his mom is. So I'm going to have to do some maneuvering and off-road driving to get there. And while we do that, let's jump from one big cat to another. Let's go look at the lions with Jamie.
From a spotty cat to a tawny cat, we are still sitting with the incredible Nkuhumas. Now, apparently lots of you have been asking whether or not we get buffalo and wildebeest here. And we do often see them. We're probably not going to see them during your school session, during this moment now with all of you. And there's one very good reason behind that, and that's because there is a massive storm rolling in. And with the storm comes lots of winds. Just have a look at some of the trees. You can see they're blowing away. The wind has really caught them. And that makes animals very, very nervous. So in windy weather like this, especially when there's a storm, the animals like the buffalo and the wildebeest know that they can't hear as well, they can't smell as well, and they get very frightened. And as a result, they often hide away in some dense vegetation. So we could see them, but chances are they're going to be huddled up and staying still, sheltering from the storm somewhere. And I think it's going to hit in probably the next hour or so, but that is where the buffalo and the wildebeest are hiding at the moment, hiding away from the open areas and hiding in the trees. The lions don't have to worry too much. They are the biggest predator out here, and this particular pride has 4 big males to help to keep them safe, and so they feel quite happy. They've all eaten, they're looking very well, and look at those bellies. Now, Spencer, you want to know, how do the animals get warm? Well, Spencer, they fluff up their fur coat, because remember, they're covered in fur. Unlike human beings, we've lost all of our fur, so we have to cover up with jackets and jerseys and all sorts of things. But the animals have a nice warm layer of fur to help to keep them warm. And in the case of the lions, look at them. They're all snuggling together, because of course a lion pride doesn't really have any kind of an idea of personal space. Oh, big stretch. And they're quite happy to lie on top of each other. Dylan, you want to know, why do baby lions roll on the ground? Well, that's the only place that they have to sleep out here, Dylan. There's no beds for the lions, there's no kennel or anything like that for them. This is just wildlife, and they live in the wild. So the ground is the only place that they can come and lie down, and they look quite comfortable to me. But they're rolling around because they've got very full bellies, and they're trying to find themselves a comfortable spot. And also, sometimes they get a little bit too warm, and then it's kind of like turning, you know how you turn your pillow over when you're in bed? Maybe you wake up in the middle of the night and you turn it over so that you can rest your face on the cool side. That's what lions rolling over is also about. They move onto a cool patch of dirt. Every now and again, one of them rolls over, stretches a little bit. Very good question from Gabriel. Gabriel, you want to know how many animals I have seen and how smart are they? In terms of how many animals I've seen, I honestly don't know. Can I just say lots? I've seen lots and lots of animals. I've seen lions, I've seen 2 different species of rhino, elephant, leopards, cheetah, buffalo, wildebeest, all the different types of antelope. So I've seen lots and lots of different animals. However, I've never been to America, so I've never had a chance to see a bear or a bison or any of those special creatures that you get on your side of the world. Now, you want to know how smart they are. A lot of them are very, very smart. So to me, some of the smartest animals that we get out here, one of them is called a spotted hyena, and they're very intelligent. So they've done some experiments with hyena in captivity, testing their intelligence levels, and they're very smart, almost as smart as chimpanzees. And elephants, to me, are also some of the smartest animals that we get out here. They're just so big, and their brain is probably about this big. So it's a really massive brain compared to a human being. So there's lots of thinking going on there. And all of the animals are smart in their own way. Lions are smart at hunting. Lions are smart. They're far better at catching animals. They know which way to go and how to use the wind. And Emma, you wanted to know if lions will go hunting in a storm. Yes, Emma, they absolutely will. Lions actually love hunting in storms because it's not too hot for them, so they don't have to get too hot when they're running around like you running on a sports field, and perhaps you get hot and sweaty. They don't have to worry too much in the storm. Isn't that wonderful? Unfortunately, it's sad to say that it's time for me to say goodbye to the three schools that have joined us this afternoon. So to North Landing and to Thorogood, as well as to Glenwood Elementary Schools, it's been lovely having you on board. I hope that you've had fun. It's time for us to say goodbye for now, and I hope that at some point we get to see you again. Have a wonderful school day further.
Okay, we're live. We didn't even know that. So everybody, we found, I managed to find something. Come have a look here. I lifted up a log and I found something very interesting. A beautiful solifuge. Look at that. Wow. It's a big solifuge. Some people refer to it as a red Roman or sun spider. It's not a spider at all. They do not have venom glands, but they've got very, very sharp mandibles. They can do some serious damage with biting, but they're just very, very fast-moving little creatures, and they are very beautiful. Look at that. And they generally are nocturnal. They run around at night, and they don't like light very much. So often people think they're chasing them, but what happens is the solifuge tries to get out of the light, so they run into the shadow of people. I've seen that happen before. So people think they're chasing them, but that's not the case at all. They're just trying to get out of the light, just like this one's trying to get out of there now. Oh, look at that. Don't want to disturb it too much. And see those big hairy legs, very hairy legs, so that they can pick up on the vibrations of little insects. And these little guys are so fast and so powerful that they're able to kill other arachnids like spiders and sometimes even scorpions. Isn't that just so cool? That's wonderful. That's really, really nice to find one out here during the day, just under the log. Very interesting. Well, I don't want to disturb it too much. Cupcake sugar pie, you say this looks like a tarantula. It does almost, doesn't it? But it's not a spider at all. It's got no webbing on it whatsoever. I just want to move this leaf. There we go. But that's so cool. It's so nice to see one of these little creatures that we don't get.
Look at this, isn't this fantastic? Sorry about leaving Byron. He's having a bit of an audio issue. But we're being really spoilt at the moment with these incredible leopards. Young Hosanna is just taken. There's that what's left of that Inyala up the tree. And Shongile is actually so close we can't even see her. She's... Oh, where is she? Oh, she's gone to sleep right there. I can just see her through sort of the hole in the oh, we can't see it from your angle, but she's lying right next to the car. Oh, look at this, look at this. Hello, mister. Are you gonna let your sister feed now? If you've come down, she might take that opportunity. Don't keep an eye on her. It's gonna be interesting to see if he tries to stop her from feeding. He's got quite a nice little fat belly now. Oh, sorry, that was my shoe. I apologize. You came close to me, Chief. I didn't follow you. Oh, he is absolutely magnificent. Not much left of the little Nyala. I'm just trying to keep an eye on little Shongile. She's noticed that Hosanna has left, but he is lying very close. Yeah, she comes. Is he going to try and chase her off it? No, look at that. That's incredible. She just ran up that branch, not even a foot and a half, 2 feet from my feet. That's amazing. They are becoming such spectacular young leopards. We are really spoiled to spend as much time with them as we do. You get that, Shongi. Hosanna's been hogging it. I mean, they absolutely, completely have a zero regard for us while we're with them. I mean, they're so close to us. I mean, she passed within, it just always amazes me. And you know what? You would think after growing up in the bush and spending all my time, adult life, working in the bush, I'd get tired of this. I never get tired of it. It gives me a rush every time. Now, also, I almost forgot, remember this, they'll give you a quick shot. If you come out a bit, eggs, you can see actually how close. Here we go. So here's me, there's Hosanna, and Shongile is just over there. Isn't this amazing? And remember, this is 100% live, so you can tweet us a question about what's happening right in front of us by using the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter, or use the email address questions@WildEarthTV. This is just absolutely magical. Oh, looks like she wants to move the carcass. It's just stuck on that branch. It's giving her a bit of a hard time. You need to let go, madam. Oopsie. Are you giving up already? No. There we go. Problem solving. You can figure it out. It's about the first time Hassan has managed to successfully really get something stuck somewhere. There we go. Now you got it. Don't draw. Oh, that's thorny. Oh, don't. Yeah. Isn't that amazing? Oh, there we go. Now she's got it. Let's see if she thinks she's got a better spot than her brother to feed on it. Yes, there's lots of thorns in there. There Here she's using her claws again to pick it up. Don't drop it again, because there's even more thorns at the bottom. Now, the thorns of the knob thorn are shaped very similarly to that of a leopard's claw, so they're hooking them in the opposite direction. And come on, get in there, there we go. Good girl. So it's still a long way off before Hasana becomes completely independent. But Chai Connie is wondering, will he more than likely move out of our traverse area? Indeed he will, Chai Connie, and that's the way nature designed it. So he doesn't end up mating with his sister, or with his aunt, or even with his mother. I think Karula might be a bit old by then, but you never know, it is possible. Now Hassan has moved off. Has he moved off towards Karula? Oh no, he's behind us somewhere. I can't see him. Oh, there he is, sleeping behind us. I'm going to stick with Shongile. Oh, I can hear some very upset elephants trumpeting away. They don't like this windy weather. You can just every now and then, as the wind gusts in the middle, you hear this. Oh, there we go. Don't drop it again. Those thorns are nasty down there. Oh, she's hissing at her mother. Cheeky little, cheeky. So Karula's on her way here, and that hiss was not at Hasana as I initially thought it might be. It was at Karula, and it prompted Karula to lie down. So she's sleeping right behind us. That was quite an impressive hiss there, young Shongile. It's amazing that they're already starting. That instinct to hoist, to take carcasses up trees is already very strong, and it's probably a bit of a both instinctive. They know it's safe for the carcasses up the trees, and secondly, learned the fact that they've been chased by wild dogs and other things. Also let them know that the safest place for them and their meal is up a tree. I'm keeping an eye on Karula as well. She's directly behind the vehicle. Hassan is lying off to the left. So on 3 fronts we are surrounded by the incredible spotted cats of Djuma. And again, if you want to ask any questions, like you've heard a few people doing, remember, hashtag Safari Live or questions at WildEarthTV. Now, from one cub to another, let's go see what Jamie's got.
I have got 6 gorgeous little Nkuhuma cubs, all looking, to me at least, a little bit better. And what a comforting thought that is. I must say, the adults, I've just seen Amber Eyes get up and walk a little bit earlier, and she is looking 10 times better. She's no longer looking wobbly on her legs. I don't know what was in that buffalo that they just ate, or the one before that, but all in all, I think things are really truly looking up for our Nkuhuma Pride. And I think that we are out of the woods, I hope. in terms of the white mussel disease. And just an update on that. Those of you who have been following the stories for a long time, or this story for as it's been going on, I'll get to the update in a moment. That was an impressive flick from one of their tails. But for those of you who have just joined us, our Nkuhumas fell victim to what was completely unexpected. We thought they were doing so well in terms of the fact that the drought had provided them with a steady supply of buffalo that they were hunting and catching. And then all of a sudden they started to show signs of lameness, and it ultimately resulted in the deaths of 2 of the cubs, and the almost paralysis or near paralysis of 2 more, which is why it's so fantastic to see that they have managed to kick it. And it turned out to be due to a vitamin E deficiency and a syndrome known as white mussel disease, or nutritional muscular dystrophy, due to a lack of vitamin E, or lack of fat mostly, in their diets. And there was concern when the females started to show symptoms as well. We sent those videos off to the authorities. They have since confirmed that they took away 2 of the cubs, the ones that had died, and they did tests on them, and they have confirmed that it was white mussel disease. But it looks as though the rains arrived at just the right time, the buffalo started fattening up at just the right time, and the Nkuhumas seem to be getting better. Now, I don't know, I'm no scientist, I'm not a vet or an expert in this particular field, but to me, these Nkuhumas look loads better. And the fact that they managed to catch and kill a buffalo sometime last night is also a really very good sign. So all in all, I think that we can breathe an enormous sigh of relief. The cubs are still looking a little bit on the scrawny side, and not perhaps as playful as they were before this problem struck them. But that's okay. They're allowed to take some time to heal and convalesce. Yes, you. Talking about you, little one. With your massive paws. And also bear in mind that through all of this that they've been struggling through, they're also growing at a tremendous rate, and they've managed to mostly kick off the mange that they were infected with at some point as well. So all in all, these 6 remaining cubs are strong little survivors. Well done, little Nkuhumas. I'm happy. I'm feeling very, very happy about the scene in front of us. Seen Amber Eyes walk, and she seemed to be the worst of them. That and the lioness with the injury over her, and the lioness with the injury over her tail. But both of them seem to be getting better, and all of them have relatively round bellies. And a very warm welcome to Sarah on the subject of the health of these cats. You want to know if it's normal for the big cats to be breathing as fast as they are, because it seems very fast when compared to domestic cats. Well, Sarah, first of all, a very warm welcome to you. I'm loving having you on the Sunset Safari. Yes, it is. So the reason that they're breathing that fast is because unlike domestic cats that have basically got used to the idea of knowing where their next meal is coming from, the big cats don't. And so what happens is when they do kill something, they gorge themselves, and they have the physical ability to gorge themselves to the point that their stomach distends immensely, and it starts to, first of all, to push up against their lungs. So essentially it's so full that they don't have the usual sort of capacity to breathe in fully, but then also that digestion of all of that meat, and it is not exactly quality cat food that they're getting. They're getting bits of buffalo that they then have to break through and digest, and that produces an enormous amount of heat right sort of in the center of their bodies, which means that they get hot, which in turn means that they have to pant. So that also will speed up the rate of their breathing. So yes, it is completely normal. It's something that you'll get used to seeing as you watch more and more of these live safaris, I promise. You'll see it with the leopards, you'll see it with the lions. Hopefully one day we'll see it with hyenas as well. But it is completely and 100% normal. And so is, to an extent, so is the gangliness of the little cubs, just because they're doing so much growing in such a short space of time. What do you think, Amber? You're going to roll over? No, not so much. One big stretch. Too sweet. Little one snoozing away quite happily. I just wanted to update you about that now that we have finished off with our very special school drive. After that, after this sort of the next few moments spent with the Nkuhumas, we're probably going to leave, go off in search of other things, possibly encounter a storm. We'll see how we go, because the weather does seem to be closing in on us, and I am hearing the rumbles of thunder every now and again. But I don't think it's going to get to us before the end of the sunset safari. I think we're going to be okay. But hopefully it brings more rain. More rain means more grass means fatter buffalo, and the better the lions will do. Now, Les, you want to know, if the lions do hunt in the rain, does the rain reduce any scent of the predators in terms of the prey? One of the big impacts that it does have is it's very disorienting for the prey. So yes, in a way, it does hide the smell of the predators, although that's more to do with the wind, but the rain will also dampen it as well. Once it starts going away, then their scent will start carrying in a very, very strong way, because they're actually more smelly when they're wet than they are when they're dry. But when it's actively raining, especially if it's a downpour, with the wind blowing, it's something that is very, very, these are very favourable conditions for a lion or a leopard to hunt. Sorry, I'm distracted by the birds, but they're playing hard to get. Oh, wait, Gendre's managed it. Well done, Gendre. Managed to get the green wood hoopoes or the red-billed wood hoopoes on camera. They've been chirping away, making lots and lots of noise this afternoon. Sorry, Les, I'll get back to you in 1 second. They've been fluttering around here for much longer than the greenwood hoopoes usually do. I wonder if they're slightly upset about the presence of lions. Don't think so, though. They shouldn't really be a threat to them. But yes, just imagine, Les, and for all of those of you who are new to these safaris or these live safaris, just imagine that you are entirely dependent upon your hearing and your sense of smell. So your eyesight is not fantastic. Now you know that there could be a predator around any corner, but the wind's blowing, so you've got rustling coming from there and there and there and there and there and there, and you can't smell and you can't necessarily see because the rain is driving into your eyes. And it gives you an idea as to why it's such good conditions for the lions to hunt in. I want to know what these wood hoopoes are fussing about. They're all around me, but they've all vanished. I don't see a place where we can put them on camera. And of course, just an update, we're roof-bound this afternoon, just because it did look as though the sky was about to descend upon us. So we decided that we would wrap ourselves up nice and safely. While we await the coming storm, I think we're going to leave the lions for now. Let's go across to Byron, see how he's doing out on foot.
And look what we have found, everybody. A leopard tortoise. A beautiful, beautiful leopard tortoise. Look at these wonderful markings on the carapace. Really beautiful coloration and wonderful markings. And this little one seems very, very relaxed. Now, I want to try something. It's a little secret, so have a look and let's see. If you come around the front, I'm going to move very slowly. It's got its little head out. And I don't want to disturb him too much, but I'm just going to scratch the top of his head, and look at that. Very comfortable and happy with me stroking the top of his head. Sometimes they stick their heads right out. There we go. Hello. Isn't that nice? Hey? Oh, you like that, don't you? Just going to move slowly away. Just saying hello to a little tortoise. That is very cool. Now, I've shown a few people that before. Not many people have seen it, but sometimes if you move very slowly and a tortoise is relaxed, you can stroke the back of the head. I don't want to disturb it, so we'll never pick a tortoise up or anything like that, because one of the defense mechanisms is they secrete a fluid, or the liquid that they actually store inside the body, and if that happens, they can then suffer from dehydration. So you must never pick up a tortoise or really disturb them, but this one's completely relaxed, as you could see with me scratching the top of its head. Wasn't that nice? Something different. It's wonderful to see these little tortoises out. And we'll probably start seeing a lot more, especially with all the rain that's come. So there's a lot more moisture around, and these tortoises then become a lot more active. That's great. Oh, Samantha, you wanted to know again what tortoise it is. It's a leopard tortoise, and you want to know how old this tortoise is. I don't know. Some people say you can maybe count the rings on the shell, on the carapace, but you know, I don't know how accurate that is. I think it's this tortoise is 17. It's an absolute guess, Samantha. I'm not sure, but I do know that leopard tortoises can live to an age of about 80 or 100 years old, especially in captivity. So these, if they get large enough, especially out here, they can live for very long periods of time because predators are unable to harm them. Once they get to a certain size, a lion or a leopard is unable to fit its jaws around, or even hyena, and wouldn't be able to crush the shell at all. So then they'll continue living out here. And I've seen some really big leopard tortoises, and if you look at this one, I've seen some that are about this height compared to this one, so much bigger, if you can imagine. Now one like that would easily be 60, 70 years old, possibly. So much larger than this little one, who, and again, I'm not entirely sure how old this one is, but I'm assuming that it's definitely over 10 years old. Lovely. Lebek, you want to know if they can feel it when we touch them on the shell. Definitely, they can definitely feel it, and I think it's more case of they pick up the vibrations, so they can definitely feel those vibrations on the shell, and that's often why if you had to touch him now, he'd probably stop and quickly and move into his shell, just because he's feeling a bit nervous. But you can see he's become very relaxed with us being around him now, and he's happy to move on and continue on his journey. I wonder where he's off to. And they move surprisingly quickly. If you look at it, at that little tortoise go, always reminds me of the story of the tortoise and the hare. I wonder if we had to race it, who would get back to camp first, the tortoise or us. Lovely, very nice. Let's see what else we can find around here. Oh, there we go. Something interesting. And we have a beautiful giant land snail shell. Now this is obviously an old dead snail, and I don't know, it looks like something's tried to crush it or bite into the shell and maybe try and get the snail, possibly a bird, maybe something like a ground hornbill perhaps. I'm just going to lift this up and just see if there's anything in here. Usually you just get a lot of sand. You may get some other creatures using these shells, like perhaps spiders or scorpions, using these shells as homes, but I don't see anything in here at the moment, just a lot of sand. But you can see clearly where the shell has been smashed open, so I wonder if this wasn't perhaps from a bird that tried to get to the snail. And isn't that amazing? Beautiful giant land snail shell. And we'll leave it right there, but it's fascinating to find that all the way out here. Let's see what else. There's a lot going on here at the moment. We've lost Herbert, everyone. He's left us. No, I'm just joking. He's not too far. There's a wonderful smell in the air at the moment. I'm trying to describe it. I wonder. It's pungent. I don't know what it is. I think it's some of these trees around here, possibly some of these combretums, but it's quite a pungent smell. I wonder where it's coming from. I'm not sure, but interesting. And now it's very windy, so it could be coming from anywhere. I mean, I wonder if it's not drifting off from a buffalo carcass far away somewhere, perhaps. But it doesn't quite smell that pungent. But there is definitely a scent coming through the air with all this wind. It's been fairly quiet this afternoon for birds for us. I think it's because of the wind, everyone. So with all this wind around, the birds aren't flying as much. And Herbert has spotted something up ahead. Let's go have a look. Hang on, let's see what he's got. What was it for?
Giant plated.
Inside there. There's a giant plated lizard that just moved into this termite mound, unfortunately. And they're very, very shy lizards. Moved into that hole that you can see over there. A giant plated lizard. Do see them fairly regularly, generally on rocks. They do prefer rocky areas, but you will get them out here too, and they get quite large. The giant plated lizard, for lizard size, can get to about this length. I've seen a few this size, and body probably about that thick, somewhere around there. They can get quite dark, like a dark brown, almost blackish color, but a large lizard, and they'll move into rocks or into termite mounds like this. It's a pity we didn't get to see it, but they're very quick and they're very shy. Most lizard species are. Alright, so we're going to carry on walking around looking for little creatures, and who knows, maybe bump into something larger. I'd love that. But Jamie's got a rather large antelope she'd like to show you.
A rather large and highly entertaining antelope. Oh, shame, I feel quite bad. The poor school kids, all of them wanted to see a wildebeest or a buffalo, and now we've got an entire herd of them out on the open area of Impala Plains. And I even mentioned that they might be hiding away. They're not hiding away, they're right out in the open, which also makes sense and is exactly what they're going to do as it gets dark. Be as much of the out in the open as they can so that they can spot any predators from a long way off. I really enjoy watching wildebeest, and of course we're going to be spending more and more time with them over the next few months, provided this herd does stick around, because whilst Brent has spotted the first impala lamb, the first wildebeest calf is still up for grabs in terms of firsts. And there's last year's little ones with their meager horns, and they're still slightly lighter coats. But one or two of the females in this herd are definitely showing signs of bulging bellies. So that's going to be, I think, our plan for the remainder or a little bit of the afternoon before we go back to those lions. Will be to go and look for the stirrings of new life, from round-bellied wildebeest to hopefully finding some more little baby impala lambs. The first one was seen on the sunrise safari. We might need to get a woodlands we need to get a European roller on camera. The woodlands kingfisher has now been done. I'm not going to go into that saga in any great detail. There's much disagreement this morning. But we'll go and look for European rollers and baby impala. It's a little bit too soon for baby wildebeest. For now, I'm hoping they might keep us entertained, since sometimes the cooler weather tends to put particularly these antelope in relatively high spirits. And they often start playing and cantering around. Always thoroughly entertaining to watch, but I think they've got lunch and other things on their mind. And that head shake that they're all doing at the moment, the same as with the zebra, is caused by botfly larvae living up in their sinuses and in their nostrils. So that's why they're shaking their head. It's just to try and displace the larvae a little bit. And most of the time they don't do them any damage at all. It's just discomforting for them. Oh, so sweet. There's a pregnant female. She's got another month to go, also. Which way are you going? The herd's going the other way. Yes, that way. Ah, I see. Picking your way over the thorns. That's okay, fair enough. I always think they are thoroughly entertaining. And they do sort of look a little bit like they were put together with the remainders. After all of the other antelope that were made, the wildebeest got put together by what bits remained. I find them quite pretty. Now we're going to try and get a little bit closer to them. Most of the time the antelope on days like today are quite skittish. I have no idea what the weather's doing. I have absolutely not a clue. I don't know whether it's going to storm, if it's going to clear up. I thought about that, Paul. I did. Paul raised a good point that there was a herd of wildebeest that we followed last year, and we got to the point where we knew that there were 10 babies, and as Paul said, there were 11 wildebeest. And we followed them for a long period of time. We saw them almost each and every single day on quarantine. And you were wondering whether or not these are the same wildebeest. My suspicion is yes, but I honestly don't have... let's see. Oh, it's okay. Little bit skittish, cantering around, chasing each other around now. Don't want to get too close. I don't want to startle them in any way. Paul, I've thought about it. I don't really know how we could go about proving it. I think it probably is, but I don't know for certain. Oh, one impala ram bolting past. Now we're all going in the opposite direction. Back the way. Oh, now it's panic. Now it's panic. The impala started running, and therefore the wildebeest started running. Just so you know, at a few moments in time, we are going to get the bars of the roof in shot. That is just going to be how it is. Unfortunately, it's the way of the world when we have a roof on. So excuse us. We're just keeping it on in case the storm decides to descend. And I'm not entirely sure exactly what it is going to do. Apart from, well, the sides are going to flap. I wonder if it is the same wilde herd. I keep forgetting now I can't do anything. I'm sorry. You can't see them. There's a flap in your way. Hold on a moment. We'll go around. We'll go do a U-turn. There's also erosion control on this road on either side of me, so I can't reposition. So we'll have to do this. So those sticks and so on are placed there by people because the road slowly but surely expanded. And there's been a lot of erosion from water flowing through here, particularly when we had the big rains straight after the end of the dry season. So that's why those sticks in there, just to help trap water and to help keep the soil in place. Here we go. That's a good view. If it is the same herd, then only 4 of their youngsters survive. If I manage to do a correct head count. So 4 out of the 10 made it to their first year. There they go, they are playing a little bit. Oh, we just saw them run a little way away. Martin, you wanted to know if I've ever seen wildebeest stampede. Not in the sort of the sense of the Great Migration and the wildebeest stampeding across the plains and across open areas. I've seen herds of them stampede, but just, herds of 20 or so. So never those massive, massive numbers that we were lucky enough to see when James was in the Mara. That I've never seen in person. But I can imagine it is a truly awe-inspiring sight to watch them all moving together, those thousands and thousands of animals running in the same direction. It's still on my list of spectacles that I would love to see in Africa. Generally, we don't get, in South Africa, we don't get it's a sort of a totally different approach that the wildebeest have, and they don't form those enormous herds. They generally stay in their herds of about between 10 and 15. We don't really see them in numbers much larger than that. There's a big herd that lives on Cheetah Plains that we see relatively regularly. I think it's our herd. I just don't really know how I could go about proving it. But yes, I've just double-checked my head count, and if it was our herd, then only 4 of the youngsters survived from last year. There's another massively pregnant cow at the back. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Chitra? Sorry, bear with me 1 second. That sneeze really seriously took me by surprise. I'm just going to try and put a piece of my brain back in. I nearly hit my head on the steering wheel. Sorry, Cheetah. You wanted to know what the gestation period of a wildebeest is. Well, of course, they have the set breeding season, so they will all give birth. Just to provide some background to this, they rut around April or so, which is when the males start to really fight for access to the females, and then the females all give birth roughly around the same time. So that's round about December or January or so. So the gestation period is about 270 odd days, which is nearly, what's that in months? 270, that's about 9 months. Yeah, it's about the same as a human being, give or take a few days. But as I said, unlike human beings, they do have a relatively strict breeding season. Let me just try and work this out. It is right. They do indeed start to rut around April, and they do start to give birth in December. That would be about right. I'm going to continue on and see what we can see on this dark and stormy afternoon. Let's go back across to Brent and his beautiful spotted cats.
Well, we caught up with Karula. Now, young Hosanna went wandering and managed to disturb some Inyala, which sent Karula racing down to make sure it wasn't possibly another leopard or a lion that might be near young Hosanna, the troublemaker. It also caused young Shongile to abandon the carcass and run off into the bush, but I'm sure she's going to be back shortly. So I was just hoping that young Hosanna, Karula's going to move for us, and she's heading back towards where she left Shongile on what the remnants of that little Inyala carcass. Here's, I'm going to just wait for her to go past us before I move. Okay. Tom, we're opposite you now. Now she's heading straight behind us, so I just need to do a little bit of a turnaround. I just need to chat to Tom on the radio quickly. He's been looking for us. Tom, she's moving west on the top of the bank here. The other cub is somewhere in the drainage line, and one is up on top with me here. Okay, let's go see if she's going to head right back to where little Shongile is. And little Hosanna is somewhere in here where he went and caused trouble with the Inyalas. Now, where she's going, we can't go. We have to go the long way around. You're holding on, everyone, Egbert included. To see if little, little Shongile is back up where the carcass is. She is. Okay, just young Hosanna is off causing havoc somewhere. Now you can see her, she's up there. And we're going to do this. Now Karula, Karula's laid down on our road from earlier, so I'm going to go around the other side. Just give you a quick view before I move. You can see her there. There we go, she's back finishing off the remnants of that little Inyala. Okay, let's try and get a bit closer. Okay, we should be... Oh, there we go. Not too bad. The odd crunch, not of bones, but of bushes, of all that stuff the elephants have pushed down. So it's actually going to take me a little bit longer than I thought. There's a big hole there, so I've got to go a long way around. So while I go around, let's go see how Byron is faring on foot.
So look what I've found, everybody. And look at that. Beautiful porcupine quill. Isn't that amazing? This is a small little one. They do get much, much bigger. And this is a little one. But what happens is, and you can actually see clearly, this is the end that sits into the porcupine. That end there, and then the sharp quill on the end will be sticking out. Now, the misconception that some people have about porcupine is that they shoot their quills out if they are threatened by anything. That's not the case at all. What will happen is this porcupine will sit with these quills in its body, and they'll lie down, or they'll lie flat like this against the body, and when they feel threatened, they tense their muscles and they cause those quills to stand up like this, and those quills will stand out, and some of them much longer, as I mentioned. And what they then do is they'll run backwards or reverse into whatever it is that's trying to kill them or threaten them, and these quills will then stick into the prey and they'll get pulled out, and those quills will cause a lot of serious damage. Very, very sharp. So that's how the porcupines protect themselves, and they don't shoot the quills at all. Let's see what else we can find. I will indeed keep this quill. Nice little souvenir. Having a look around in some of these trees. This is an interesting little tree, and I'm sure many guides have spoken to you about this tree before. And this is called a peltiforum, or an African wattle. And a beautiful soft tree, very soft leaves. And some people, and like I said, a lot of guides do speak about this tree because you do see them quite often, but it is a lovely tree to see, and I'm sure some of you have heard about the African wattle before. But a lot of locals, or some guides too, they get stuck in the bush and they need toilet paper and they don't have. They'll grab a bunch of these leaves, and these very soft peltiforum leaves will help as toilet paper. I've never used them, so I can't tell you what if it works or not, but apparently it does. You have to just grab a whole bunch of them. Grab a guava. Lebek, so we're moving through a drainage line at the moment, and you want to know what a drainage line is. So this area, and have a look down here, you can see it very clearly down here. All that this is a low-lying area that what happens is when it rains, this forms part of a drainage. So the water runs from the crest areas, or the higher lying areas, down into this, not quite a valley, it's just a low-lying area. And what it does is this then forces the water to flow down towards low-lying areas like those dry riverbeds that we have running through Djuma, and eventually down into the dams or into the rivers. So this is what a drainage line is. It's an area, low-lying area, where the water is funneled down after rainfall. It seeps down into this area, and that will then flow down into the dry riverbeds, which will eventually meet up with the rivers. So especially when we have floods, that you'll see a lot of these drainage lines will have water running through them and then into those dry riverbeds.